All right, joining me to speak on this further, this issue of the protest coming up tomorrow, is the former Minister of Sports Development, Mr. Solomon Dalong. He joins us from just the Plateau State capital. Mr. Dalong, good to see you, and thank you for coming on the program.
Yeah, good afternoon, Nigerians, and thank you very much for the opportunity.
All right, so let's begin. Are you going to be joining the protest tomorrow?
Live and direct.
Okay, because most of the time, when we speak to members of the APC or some of the members of the people in government, most of the time, they speak against the protest. So let me maybe rephrase again. Are you still in the APC?
I resigned from this APC in 2023, and I'm a member of the Social Democratic Party, the only political party that has suffered unaddressed injustice from the Nigerian state.
All right, Mr. Dalong, one of the things, before we get, okay, let's just get, so if for you joining the protest tomorrow, because you're one of the high-profile persons we have seen that is saying that he's going to join the protest, what's your motivation besides the things we've read across board?
Well, every human being is a member of a political community and a society. And the Nigerian people have not pretended that there are existential issues affecting their well-being as citizens. And they've seen that there is no attempt from established institutions to be able to address these issues. The National Assembly, the voices that tried to echo their grievances were silenced. The traditional institutions have been on paying of homages to the villa. The religious clerics are also on pilgrimage to Aso Rock. So the people are frustrated, and they have decided to join the elementary school of learning the language to speak with the government. They are now graduates of the appropriate language of communication which the government can understand, which is protest. So I am motivated by the commitment of our people to seek peaceful redress from their government. That is the motivation.
So when we've spoken with a couple of ministers, a couple of people in government. As a matter of fact, we spoke earlier today with the Minister of State for Health. And one of the things he's constantly mentioned is that, paraphrasing what he said, Nigeria has been living a fake life. More like the government has been subsidizing fuel, forex, electricity, and all whatnot. And so the Tinubu administration is coming to reset this. And it's going to take a bit of time for that to kick in, that Nigerians should give them the benefit of doubt and allow them some time for this to kick in. Is that a strong proposition that you think should be considered by the Nigerian people, or it falls flat on the surface?
An average Nigerian is more informed about these government rhetorics. The Tinubu administration and his ministers are completely disconnected from the people. Most of them, since their appointments, had never even had any good link with the people to understand the devastating impact of the policy of withdrawal of fuel subsidy. They are already, they are just panicked by this resolve of the people. So they have been running from pillar to post to try to connect with the people, but it's been difficult. So all that they are doing now is try to operate a narrative that is completely at variance with what is obtainable on the ground and what the people knew much about their situation. So the conversation by the Minister of State is more or less too academical to be reconciled with the situation. And I think they need more education to understand what we're dealing with right now on the ground.
Dalong, we will not forget too early that he served in the government of President Muhammadu Buhari in his very first term. And one of the things that we're perceiving that this government is putting across to us is that the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari left a huge burden on them. Literally, Nigeria was almost going bankrupt. So when they talk about the leadership of Muhammadu Buhari, you are part of that leadership. It appears that what they are saying and what they inherited, it appears that the government did not do well or did fail, literally. Is that your assessment? In your assessment, how well or badly did Muhammadu Buhari do as a president of Nigeria, under whose cabinet he served in the first term?
Tinubu and Buhari are semester twins. The government of Muhammadu Buhari was a joint government of Buhari and Tinubu. Tinubu provided the vice president and about 5 ministers in the cabinet for the period of 8 years. He also nominated special advisors. And as one who served in the government, on many occasions, we have traveled with him together with President Muhammadu Buhari on foreign missions. So I think it is unfair for President Tinubu to say, to now say he inherited. No, there was nothing for him to inherit. Whatever we are dealing with today was what they jointly with Muhammadu Buhari put in place. And from their arguments now, I am convinced that part of the advice they gave Buhari with those he nominated was to drive the country to this position so that they can find themselves in power and embark on blame game. But there is no distinction, clear distinction at all, between Buhari's 8 years government and Tinubu, because they shared the members of the government and they serve their interests in government.
Are you by inference saying that the Muhammadu Buhari administration failed in the management of our common resources?
Completely. That I have not denied it. That self-indictment I have admitted and has apologized to Nigerians, because I'm one of those who campaigned vigorously for President Muhammadu Buhari and the APC. And I had a dream of transforming Nigeria into a better society. So if we have not been able to achieve that in the 4 years of my service and the 8 years of President Muhammadu Buhari, I cannot play saint now. That government failed, and of course some of the debt burdens that Nigeria is dealing with was by that Tinubu Buhari's government, which we served in. So I have not denied that the government did not discharge its social contract with Nigerians.
All right, Mr. DeLong, I want to put up a few things. If my producer can get me some of the things. The question I want to ask is, they call it, there's no aggregated common charter of demands because there are different groups coming together to protest. I don't know what group you belong. Maybe I'll ask you, what group do you belong to? Are you a lone protester, or there's a group you belong to, or you're coming as a member of the SDP? How are you coming on this protest? As a citizen or a member of a group? Or let us be clear.
Currently, I lead the various civil society, faith-based and community groups in the North that are participating in the protest. So it will be fair to refer to me as a leader of most of those groups that have identified with me.
Would you also say, some people are alluding to the fact, especially the people in power, that this may border on anarchy, that people who have lost election are unhappy, and this is politically motivated. Is this, in your view, who has been a politician, or who is still a politician, a former minister who served barely a few years ago, do you see this as politically motivated?
You know, it's unfortunate that those in government are demarketing our image as a country. Nigerians have great brains all over the world. So if such statements are coming officially from government, I mean, it's embarrassing to some of us. The issues raised by the people are very, very clear. Hunger, poverty, unemployment, injustice, insecurity, and impunity. Can they deny any of those things? Why have they not given the attention to address these things? People are dying every day, even in Jos, where I am. A man collapsed yesterday by the road and died. His pocket was searched, and prescriptions were seen in the pocket, which he has no money to afford. And he collapsed and died. These are realities. So why are you shifting the goalpost instead of dealing with the issue? So the government should kindly please stop embarrassing Nigerians.
All right, Mr. Dalong, let's go to some of the demands. And I always like to ask this question. So if the government meets Mr. Solomon Dalong, who is a former minister, and say, what would you want us to do to shelve your plan to join the protest? But let me show you some of the things that the people call charter of demands. They say they want fuel subsidy reintroduced. They want a reverse in the hike in electricity tariff. If my producer can get me up on that screen so that everybody can see what I'm reading. End hardship and hunger, free all detained NSAS protesters, end hike in school fees, provide students with grants, not loan, place political office holders on minimum wage, reverse all anti-poor neoliberal policies, and fix old and build new refineries. So some of these things have been mentioned. But if there was a top 3 in your list that can, in the immediate term, the short term, that Mr. Dalong will want to see happen so that you can begin to advise your people to stay back at home and not join the protest or even cancel, what will it be?
Well, let me begin by saying that I love Nigeria and I'm a patriot. And I wish this country continue in peace and develop. The first 3, which even by the meeting we had yesterday, the online meeting we had yesterday, that had over 117,000 people in attendance, we narrowed these issues to 3. That, I mean, if the government can address these 3, the protest can be suspended while we test the sincerity of government in implementing the 3, while other demands in the kitty will come up later. And these are the reintroduction of subsidy, the also withdrawal of the hike in electricity tariffs, and the issue of insecurity.
Oh dear. Piers, Mr. Dalong, just 10 seconds. I just have 10 seconds. Just land on your thoughts.
Okay.
Just 10 seconds.
So those 3 things, if the government can address them, it will douse the tension and it will even suspend the demonstration.
All right.
So we have restoration of fuel subsidy. We have the issue of electricity tariff and insecurity. These are very basic.
All right. Solomon Dalong, former Minister of Sports, thank you so much for joining us from Jos, the Plateau State capital. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you very much, too, for the opportunity.